Hey there, focused learners, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in because today, while we're tackling a massive, kind of anxiety-inducing question, it's the one keeping students, parents, and let's be honest, entire governments awake at night: the future of work in the age of artificial intelligence. I mean, we're all a little worried about whether our jobs are going to be replaced by AI, right? And as you'll see, this very anxiety is completely turning how governments view university education upside down. So let's just dive right into it. So what's the big question? Which university degrees will actually survive the AI revolution? Now, for years, the conventional wisdom was a no-brainer: study science, technology, engineering, or math. You know, STEM. But as we dig into the data, there's this really fascinating tension brewing between what governments demand, what students actually want, and what AI might actually, spare. And you guys, the panic gripping governments right now is very real, particularly across Asia. Just recently, a top official from the Indonesian Ministry of Higher Education threw out a pretty controversial idea. They suggested that universities might need to evaluate or even outright close majors if they're deemed irrelevant to the current or future job market. Naturally, this sparked massive, immediate backlash. Students pushed back hard, asking the obvious questions, like, wait, what exactly defines irrelevant? And what specific industry are we even supposedly trying to match up with here? To really understand why governments are panicking, we kind of just have to look at the numbers. Right now, only about 18% of Indonesian university students are graduating with STEM majors. Japan, despite its massive, world-renowned manufacturing industry, isn't doing a whole lot better. They're sitting at roughly 20%. Now, contrast that with Malaysia. Malaysia is the standout star of Southeast Asia right now. Thanks to years of relentlessly building up their car manufacturing and semiconductor industries, a whopping 43% of Malaysian university grads have STEM degrees. So governments in countries with lower numbers are staring at Malaysia and feeling this immense crushing pressure to catch up. Because of this, nations are aggressively, and I mean aggressively, pushing their young people into these technical fields. They see it as a shield against total economic irrelevance. But here's the billion-dollar question. How on earth do you convince an entire generation to just change their life plans? Well, different countries are trying vastly different methods to force this shift. Take Australia, for example. About 6 years ago, they tried to literally manipulate university fees, making humanities super expensive and STEM courses incredibly cheap. The result? Total failure. Research from the University of Melbourne showed that a measly 1.5% of students actually changed their major based on the cost. Why? Mostly because Australian students rely on delayed government loans anyway, so the upfront cost didn't bite. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you've got China's rigid, top-down approach. The Chinese government dictates exactly what universities can and cannot offer. Lately, they've been mandating new courses in robotics and low-altitude drone engineering, while literally crossing degrees like public administration and foreign languages right off the approved list. And then there's Japan. The Japanese government recently set aside a truly staggering fund. We're talking roughly 2.5 billion US dollars. They basically went to their massive sector of over 600 private universities and said, hey, you can have a slice of this gigantic pie, but only if the money goes straight towards science, engineering, and related facilities. It is a massive financial bribe, essentially, designed to strategically pivot the entire academic sector. But here's where all these grand master plans hit a massive brick wall. As the old saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Even when governments use carrots, sticks, or literal billions of dollars, students globally are pushing back. When high schoolers graduate, a huge chunk of them simply want to study social sciences, communications, or the humanities. They want to enroll in subjects they're genuinely passionate about. And universities, well, they operate commercially to attract students, so they respond by offering those exact social science degrees in droves. But even when students do actually choose STEM, we hit this crazy striking paradox. Look at the UNESCO data regarding Indonesian women. A really solid 35 to 37% of women actually enroll in university STEM majors, so the interest is absolutely there. But get this, their actual participation in the STEM workforce, it's only 8%. There is a massive gaping hole between getting that technical degree and actually landing in the industry. So, why exactly does this pipeline leak so badly? Well, let's break it down. First, there are significant social barriers and lingering gender stereotypes built right into the STEM workforce itself. Second is the culturally inherited double burden, the heavy pressure from families for women to stay home and raise children. But the third point is honestly the most shocking. There is literally a lack of high-skill technical jobs available in the market to actually absorb them. Because these roles just don't exist in high enough numbers, these highly educated grads end up underemployed, totally unemployed, or they just throw their hands up and switch fields away from STEM entirely. It really makes you wonder, what's the point of forcing these degrees if the jobs aren't even there?
Okay, let's pivot to the ultimate plot twist of our explainer today. We've established that governments are basically forcing students into STEM to protect them from the future. But with the rapid wildfire spread of artificial intelligence, we have to ask the big one. Is STEM actually safe?
Earlier this year, global software giant Oracle announced up to 30,000 job cuts across multiple countries. Think about that for a second. 30,000. And these aren't your supposedly irrelevant humanities majors. These are the highly skilled tech workers that governments have literally been begging universities to produce. And no, it's definitely not an isolated incident. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta recently slashed around 8,000 jobs. We are seeing massive, devastating global job cuts across the entire software and tech ecosystem. Fresh graduates who did everything right and are looking for entry-level tech jobs are suddenly just hitting a brick wall. This creates a completely startling paradox for fresh graduates. I like to call it the tech layoff loop. Here's how it works. Step 1, tech companies cut their human software engineering and programming jobs. Step 2, they take all that freed up capital and heavily invest it into AI infrastructure. Step 3, that very same AI is then used to replicate the technical, entry-level coding tasks that those humans used to do. So the brutal irony here, the skills most exposed to automation right now might actually be the exact technical skills governments are demanding. So if technical skills are suddenly vulnerable, what is actually safe? Well, the answer lies in the very human-centric skills that some governments are threatening to cut. We're calling it the EQ advantage. The absolute crucial thing to understand here is EQ, or emotional intelligence. It's the ability to provide genuine emotional support. It's having the intuition to walk into a room and just read it, The capacity to truly connect on a human level. While AI is undeniably incredible at writing lines of code or crunching massive datasets, humanoid robots are nowhere near ready to replicate real human empathy. That is the one barrier machines simply cannot cross yet. When we look at the job market, highly technical yet repeatable skills, things like entry-level software engineering, coding, administrative tasks, even paralegal work, those are prime targets for AI automation. But roles requiring high EQ, things like nursing, education, and healthcare, those remain incredibly resilient. Think about it. If you're lying in a hospital bed, no matter how advanced a humanoid robot is, you are always going to want a human being standing there. You need someone who provides not just medical support, but emotional support. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful quote from our source material. Those jobs that involve EQ, many of them are related to the humanities, those sorts of jobs will ultimately persist. The irony is just profound, doesn't it? The very social science and humanities degrees that top-down government systems are labeling as irrelevant and threatening to shut down, they actually cultivate the exact human touch skills that AI cannot easily replicate. And that leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought to wrap up today's explainer. If AI can flawlessly write code, but it absolutely cannot read a room or hold a patient's hand, is this sweeping mandate to push every single student into STEM actually a massive strategic misstep? Could the supposedly irrelevant humanities degrees end up being our ultimate survival tool for the future of work? It's a wildly fascinating shift in how we view education, and definitely something to chew on as this AI revolution continues to unfold. Thank you so much for joining me today, Focused Learners. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I will see you next time.